Yeah, sick. Man, this is gonna be good. I'm excited. For our listeners, Ghostfire Gaming, whom we love all of their content. They have recently released the playtest for their Monster Grimoire. If you backed the Kickstarter, you would have access to it. But it's something that I've been dying, waiting for, and hoping and praying that they would have released it before we got into Darkreign, when our players will be encountering a lot of monsters. And thankfully, they did. Like right while I was on vacation. So I got a chance to peek at it while I was out, and I've been looking at it since I got back, and I'm excited. So before we get started, we just want to say we are on all social media, or well, not all, I guess, not Facebook, but we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, we have a Discord. We're even, believe it or not, on Patreon. Only support us if you really feel like you can and have really been enjoying the podcast. But the details for that, we should have all of that in our description, wherever that is, based on what you're listening to us on, whether it be YouTube or iTunes or Spotify. So yeah, check those things out. And we also have, in celebration of our 1 month of being live, we're a little bit late on that, but we are also doing a giveaway for one hardcover version of the Ghostfire Gaming's Grim Hollow, the campaign guide. Doesn't matter where you live, we'll ship it to you. And for that, you'll want to join the Discord to get the details. And so once again, description or links to all our media should be in the description of this podcast. But yeah, follow us on those social medias. Subscribe to us on YouTube if you want to. We'd love to have you, and join the Discord. Hang out with us. That being said, we're gonna get into the recap, and then we're gonna get right into the session. In this session, like I said, I'm excited. So, Wyvour, 37th of Stivos, 301st year of Darkreign, first night of Darkreign. As was the saying, all things must end. In this case, it would be 7 more nights before Darkreign ended. 7 long nights of thievery, slaughter, terror, and perfect darkness. Whether Darkreign would ever cease to exist was a mystery. It started 301 years ago, so perhaps a couple hundred years from now it would no longer happen. It still happened in the mid-500s, at least Rylon could attest to that. Halifax was safe from Darkreign while he was in the Aether, if nothing else. It was necessary to imagine the glass half full in this world. In these lands teeming with backstabbers and religious zealots gone astray. The vampire they had slain would be the least of their challenges. Now they'd encounter creatures they had never heard or seen or even dreamt of. So we just ended our last session with you guys fighting that vampire that had publicly executed the mother of that young child, the child of a seraph of Moriel, whom had left his family for whatever reason. It's unclear. And then we kind of did like a flash forward a couple days to Darkreign and the first night of it. And you guys have just finished slaying a couple small, lesser creatures that had somehow gotten past the undead guarding the perimeter of the city and into the city itself. They weren't much of a trouble. And I'm not going to say that you guys used any of your spell slots, even though I did flavor that Ilfharyn used Wall of Fire to kill one of them, because that was kind of the cool sort of flashing scene from present day to, Darkreign Day 1. But yeah, you guys had just finished fighting some of these things that are just outside your house. They were trying to like get up onto the second floor and bust through the windows there, and you kind of like had to go out and fight them. And the 2 mercenaries that Undead had hired were also in that fight. The one that was inside came outside to help the other one. But their means of attack were primarily melee rather than ranged, and so it was a little bit tough for them to get to that creature up top. Probably an oversight on their part, but not the end of the world. And so you guys start outside the building, and it's all you.
All right, I guess I would be just inspecting. Rylon would be inspecting the building, making sure that there's no holes or easy ways of entry, and to kind of double check on what was going on with this this arcane lock that Ilfharyn has placed on the entrance.
Also, I should say for the listeners, we had a short meeting before the start of this session to talk about what the players would have done during this 2-day period. It kind of boiled down to them gathering supplies, boarding up the windows of this house that belonged to this woman that was executed, and breaking down their furniture to sell it. So in this building, which is a small 2-story house, they only have beds. And they only have 2 of those beds currently. And then they hired 2 mercenaries, one of which was the man that that had spoken to them, that they questioned and gave the silver spoon to when they first entered the city of Nov Ostoya. And he introduced himself as Isaac Mayer. One thing that would be abundantly clear as you guys came outside was that he definitely knew what he was doing in that fight once you guys were able to get that like kind of 4-legged, almost dog-like creature down from the board it was trying to rip open on the 2nd floor. I assume Rylon like shot it with a firebolt or something, and it like fell down, and he just like went to work and just stabbed right through it. You guys dealt with it swiftly. But yeah, there are no holes that that are unboarded, and the creature wasn't able to break through any of the boards before you guys dealt with it. So everything is still quote unquote fresh.
Okay. And as I'm inspecting that, I kind of just like I look around, and today's like it's like dawn of the first day, right? Like we're looking at like Darkreign right now, first day, right?
Yeah, it's like pitch perfect darkness outside, full eclipse of the sun.
All right, what's the vibe right now? What's everyone looking like in the city?
Well, everyone is kind of held up in their houses, shutters shut, windows boarded, doors likely boarded. They've gathered their spears and had them silver tipped, and bought plenty of torches and food to last them for the days ahead. And so it's very quiet, except in the distance you can hear the shrieking of what sounds like the undead holding off creatures that are unable to fly or climb from getting into the city itself. And you hear like wailing and moaning and like shrieks and screams and roars. And it's not died down yet, but if it's likely that you could assume they won't be able to hold off those creatures forever.
At this point, Eamon would be generally discussing with the mercenaries. What was the other one's name? So it's Isaac and whom?
Isaac and Troy.
Yeah, I'd be discussing with them too, standing under the lantern light outside the house, making sure they're alright from the fight and all that. Make sure they're all good.
They're good. Yeah, they have like Troy has like a breastplate on, and Isaac has like a half plate on, and they both have knightly swords that look like they've been lined with silver, and they've got kind of like small backpacks, not like full travel backpacks, but small backpacks, likely full of whatever supplies their mercenary needs require.
Yeah, excellent. I make sure they're good and happy, and then I'm returning to the group. The last people you want to backstab you during Darkreign are the guys guarding their front door.
Absolutely. And as we talked about, this is the time that thieves would be going out, and all the guards that are patrolling are in massive groups of like 10. And so it's easy for thieves to keep track of where the guards are, and because the guards are so clumped, and so people kind of crime spikes as well in Darkreign, not only occurrences of creatures.
Returning back to Rylon and Ilfharyn, Mon would look at you both and say, so, how exactly are we going to handle what is going on around us? Shall we return back home, or are we doing something else?
I'm unsure. Darkreign is potentially the most dangerous point. I don't want to spend too much time out in the open, right? At least personally. As much as it pains me, I want to be out there and save every single soul from wretched death. But it's just not feasible for myself nor is it feasible for all of us. So, I think that we should stick to one plan of action a day. At least this is my personal belief. One goal that we want to set for ourselves for the day. We go towards that, we come back, and we fortify our home. And by all means, if things get bad, we leave. I think the only time we should really be out there defending people is outside of our home. Because that is where we sleep, and that is where it's most important to be safe, especially if we're paying these mercenaries. Unless you guys have any other suggestions?
Stazriel steps out from the doorway with his spear held firmly, like lengthwise, with his arm in one of his hands. If we decide that we need to fly somewhere, or that may be the best course of action, and he kind of like glances around to the sky. It's not that he can see much in the darkness, but kind of reminiscing. There's probably giant bats out there and stuff like that. Then it would be a good form of transportation that you and I can enact, Rylon.
Yes, but let's not be leaving the rest of our friends on the ground, no?
Well, that's exactly it, is that we would carry you.
He gives them a thin smile.
And the mercenaries can guard the child, or I can stay with them as well, if you'd like.
Well, I don't know Ilfharyn's position on this, but I personally would not mind fighting some of the things around us, but not for no reason, as you said. And he nods towards Rylon. I think that perhaps we should attempt to make contact with our neighbors, and he nods left and right to the houses around him. Perhaps set some sort of alarm system up, so that if one of us gets in trouble, we can respond and assist. And it also protects us more if the people around us are not dying or turning into some sort of terrible creature.
I'd concur with his general sentiment, sure. I don't think that we should be going out and, trying to save everyone. That's not feasible. But the people around us, ourselves, of course, that's fine.
I don't think it's best for us to be looking for trouble, but if trouble happens to find us, then we better be prepared to fight. In Ilfharyn, we prepared for what we need to do, right? We went over this, but I prayed over some things, and hopefully Solima heard my prayers, and she was able to give me the power necessary, and I know you have the necessary equipment, but it just takes you some time, right, to enact what you can do on a daily basis, right?
It depends, but sure.
Okay, and don't worry, Eamon, we included you in these battle plans, at least metaphorically, but things that we've taken, and we are hoping that our powers will guide us with are for you as well.
That is good to hear. Right, so if we are in agreement, then we will not be leaving this block or this street for no reasons. Unless we need or feels the need to do something, we will be remaining here and protecting the people around us. Correct?
Correct.
Yes, it would seem so.
Claps his hands together. Good. So perhaps we could meet some of our neighbors. I doubt they will open the door, but perhaps we can convince them to work together.
And Stazriel kind of glances to the building next door. He doesn't look very convinced, but he nods once and skeptically looks towards you. Then, by all means, lead the way.
Sure. And he would kind of straighten his double it a little bit and start walking towards the neighbor's door.
And as you guys are walking over there, there's like a shriek in the distance, and Stazriel quickly turns his head to look in that direction before kind of understanding that it's farther off than it sounded, and goes back to walking towards the door.
Yeah, and on the door, I would, before knocking, I would kind of call out in a louder voice that we were not, I'm just doing character. We are not here to hurt you. Please do not shoot me when I knock on this door. And he knocks on the door and calls out again. If you can hear me in there, please respond. You do not have to open the door.
There's a long pause of silence, as if they're just really not trusting of this situation.
Sure.
And then finally a man calls out, "What do you want? What do you need?"
We need nothing, my friend. We are staying in the house next to you, and we would like to be sure that you are comfortable and safe, so that we may remain so as well.
Safe as it gets in Darkreign.
Indeed. So I ask that if something goes wrong, I assume you have candles?
Aye.
I would look around, kind of look up, like lean back away from the door and look up. Does it seem like they have a second floor window or a window that's like facing our direction of the home that's boarded up?
They do have a second floor window. In fact, the building that's next to your guys' is it's actually like the same building. It's just kind of like a condo sort of thing, where
Duplex.
yeah.
I ask that if something is wrong, or you think that you need assistance, that you go ahead and light one of your candles and place it in the window on the side of the house that we are on.
Oh, you think that's the way we'll warn you? Oh, trust me, you'll hear it.
Well, if you are murdered quite loudly, yes, but in the case that you are hiding and you hear something we don't, there's a good possibility you could forewarn us before something happens. You might see things that we don't.
Right. We'll keep that in mind.
And is there anything that you need to get yourself through Darkreign?
Nope, I worked hard all year. Made sure I had enough.
Good, good. Alright, well, if you need anything, we'll be a shout and a candle away.
Aye.
Alright. He kind of looks back to the rest of the crew like, huh, not bad. And, yeah. Next house?
Hey.
Yeah. Yes. He leans down.
They're just going to scream if something goes wrong.
Yes, but if they see something outside their window, I would much prefer a quieter method of warning us than screaming at the top of their lungs and attracting whatever is there to them.
Yes, and there's also the potential that they're screaming and we're not around, and we're on our way back, and see the candlelight might prove beneficial for them. We might be catching something right in the act.
And if Ian leans forwards a little bit, and if they are unlucky enough to have been killed, it may give us warning that something has already gone wrong.
Stazriel kind of points with his spear towards one of the mercenaries that you left outside the door, which is Troy. I think that if something were to skulk around outside their house, we would probably hear about it.
He is but one man. I would like to have all of the possible views around us covered.
Right.
And perhaps that man will keep more of a lookout through his windows.
If you wish.
Just being sure.
I'm with Stazriel here, but if it makes you feel better, then go ahead. In my view, I kind of look back. Are we in earshot of Troy guarding little house?
So like I said, the first house that you guys went to was like a part of your home.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'd say probably if you're talking at normal volume, then you're within earshot.
Okay. I'm going to kind of start walking to the next house and usher everybody along.
The next one down or across the street?
I'm going to go across the street.
Okay. Across the street is a large, like, 4-story building, probably like 3 houses wide, that I believe on the map is a kind of like a gambling hall.
Mm-hmm. On the way there, it's not far, obviously.
Yeah.
But I'll talk in like a hushed tone as we're walking. That guard, I think he's going to be more like a canary to us. Same as a lot of the people around here.
He is like a small bird?
Yes, like in the mines,
He looks at you with a blank expression.
Like, maybe when you go down into a mine, there could be no oxygen or lots of different gases in the air, right? So you take a little bird in a cage, and if the bird dies, then you know that you're in trouble. That's kind of what the people around us are.
Saying that we'll be relying on him to...
Possibly. I mean, look, put it this way. If we were to go out and then come back, and something had happened, then he's probably going to be dead.
I don't think that I would want him out of the home if we are not present.
Okay.
They should probably both stay within the doors for most safety at that point.
Okay. Okay. Sure.
I do understand kind of what you are saying, although I don't know a thing about mines.
Mm.
Anywho, as we like saunter up to this door, he would do the same knock.
Like I said, it's a gambling hall, and so it's probably during this time. The people that own it don't live there. Likely, it's probably abandoned currently.
No one's guarding this fucking thing? Holy shit.
Maybe a mercenary or two inside, but none of them seem to answer when you're banging on the door.
Excuse me, is anyone alive in there? We are your neighbors, and we wish to just cooperate through these dark times. We can assist you in your job if you are working from within.
Nobody seems to answer.
Interesting. I'm gonna close my... fuck me. I'm gonna... fucking goddamn concentration spells, dude. All my spells are concentration. They all reveal my true form. Yeah, I'm gonna pull out my like my hooded cloak, you know, that I wear sometimes. And I'm gonna pull the hood up, kind of muttering to myself about the inconvenience in Elvish. And then I'm going to cast Detect Evil and Good to try to sense if there's any celestials, elementals, fae, fiends, or undeads within the home, and I'll spend the key point to do so. 30 feet.
You do not detect any of those. You said celestial, fae, fiend, or undead?
Yes, sir.
Celestial. Yeah, no.
Okay, cool. Just making sure there's no one.
Except for us.
Right, of
Yeah,
course.
except for you guys.
I'm used to that by now. No shocks. Cool. All right, I shrug my shoulders at the rest of you. After I concentrate real quick on forming back to my original form, I put my hood back down.
Make an insight.
Sure. That's gonna be a 10, sir.
10. It's quiet. That's all.
I would pause and listen a little bit more. Is it still quiet?
It's quiet.
Is it too quiet?
I don't know.
Look around. Is anyone on the street?
No one.
Do I? Okay. I'd start walking towards the next house slowly, but looking around,
So, kind of, let me just quickly draw out on the foundry what the space that you guys were. So you had your house, right? And next to it is another house. Across the street is this thing, and then it was the next building would be here, and this empty space was a market.
Where's the inn?
And there would be another building here. The inn would be, actually, yeah, that would be right here.
Okay, so the inn fills in that empty space.
Yeah, and then it was a road was right here, I think.
Okay.
Sorry, listeners. That explains nothing to you guys, but it's not very necessary. So just know that. Think of it like any typical kind of fantasy or dark fantasy, dense city is kind of what environment they're in. They're nearby to this gambling hall, they're nearby to this inn, and they're nearby to this sort of market square. And then there are a few residential buildings down the road from them. It's kind of the gist of it. And the streets are 30 feet wide. If you, in crossing the street from your building to the gambling hall, that was a 30-foot difference. Or 6 tiles in combat terms.
So while walking up, so you say this one is the gambling den, right? The one I'm pointing at?
No, that's... Yeah.
Yes? Oh, that's the end, right? Gambling den here?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, cool. I'm going to go down over here.
Okay.
This one all the way on the end?
Yeah, so 2 houses to your neighbor.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. As I'm walking, looking around, everything seems totally normal, so I'm going to walk up to the door and...
Air quotes normal.
Yeah, knock, knock.
There's no response.
Excuse me, we are your neighbors from down the road. We are, requesting to assist you in, these trying times.
Somebody cuts you off on the other side of the window or door that you're knocking on. Quiet!
he would immediately shut the fuck up.
Stop making so much noise. Listen, you fool.
He would gulp and close his eyes and attempt to listen.
It's quiet. The undead are no longer fighting.
I'm not the brightest tool in the shed. I kind of look back to the rest of the group and give like a casual shrug, like what.
Can I make an insight check or a perception check?
You may.
Which one would you prefer?
Either one works in this case.
Insight it is. 16.
You would understand that the silence is a bad thing, because it means that whatever was happening outside of the walls of the city is now over. The fighting of the undead trying to keep out whatever was trying to get in on the ground level.
Okay. And out of curiosity, how far are we from the entrance of Nov Ostoya?
I don't know, probably like a
Or at least the entrance that we came from in.
10-minute walk.
Okay. I look around the street, look up and down. Do I see anybody?
That's a good question. You see kind of waltzing past you at this point, probably like a group of 8 guards, like kind of marching. They come around the corner from the gambling den and start making their way towards the gates, just kind of like doing their rounds. The one in the front and the one in the back are both holding up lanterns on like tall poles.
Kind of give them a nod as they walk by. I'm just gonna wait for them to pass.
They pass, and they're headed for the entrance.
Of the gambling hall?
No, the entrance of Nov Ostoya that you guys came through. Whether they actually make it to there before they like diverge into a different path is unknown, but that's the direction that they're headed, as you can tell now.
Yep. As soon as the street looks empty, at least from my point of view, I'm going to quickly shoot out my wings, and I'm going to kind of shoot up into the air, and just to get like a quick POV of what's going on at the entrance, if I can, from where I'm at.
Up now, like you are, you can see the city is alight with lanterns on buildings and torches in the streets and stuff like that. None of them are moving though. They're all like stars in the sky, kind of, where people have them just kind of out for light because it's Darkreign and it's pitch dark, you know. And you see a couple shadows passing through the light, you know, figures like silhouettes passing through the entrance of Nov Ostoya. And then there's a moment, and then a couple more make their way in, and then a couple more. And you see in your peripheral, maybe a 5-minute walk away to your like diagonal right as you're looking towards the entrance, smash into the roof of one of these houses is a giant bat, larger than one that you've seen before, like the same size as the one maybe that you guys passed on your way to Grabenstein, that was like lifting up entire horses. Like it was so huge. Yeah, it's like it like smashes into one of the roofs and is trying to get in, and you can only see like the silhouette of its wings like flapping with the lantern behind it. Darkreign is fully underway.
Okay. Seeing that, I come back down and I relay the message to the group. It looks like whatever's outside the walls has made its way in toward the entrance, and they are nothing more than a 10-minute walk away from our current station.
Then perhaps we should get back inside.
I came up with a plan last night. Came sort of like last minute, but it might be able to save us a bit of time, at least for at least the. I mean, is it morning technically, even though it's dark?
Technically,
right?
Yes.
Okay. And do I know if this is obviously probably not really, but like Darkreign, day or night, it's probably the same amount of bullshit, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I could potentially relieve one entrance of this street.
Define relieve?
Well, if I pray hard enough, and he would look over towards Eamon, I might be able to provide a guardian to protect one area of the street if we want to create like a chokehold, if things get a little bit rough.
Mm-hmm.
It could last up to 8 hours if I pray hard enough.
Guys, the second time.
But essentially, it will stay right where I want it to, and any creature that makes its way towards it will get cut down immediately.
Immediately.
Well, it will do a good bit of damage. I wouldn't say immediately, but something that won't exactly pass around it without it taking a bit of damage.
And you can do this how often?
Once a day.
Oh.
So it would really have to be like when we are sure this is something we want to do. So, for example, and that horde that's making its way over here might not be the best way to utilize this spell because it's almost like a time, not a timer, but if a certain amount of energy is utilized, then the Guardian will dissipate. But
I say that we save it.
got it.
You
Just in
guys
case
hear that?
something.
He looks around.
No.
I certainly just heard something.
You're dreaming.
Nope, there it is again. I look around. Can I roll perception?
Yeah,
to
make
figure
a
out what the
perception.
fuck that is.
Eamon, always a dreamer.
26, sir.
A 26. I'm assuming
It's
that
a
you guys are
nat
kind of
20.
facing each other when you're talking a little bit, right?
I'm spinning around
Is
in a
that fair to
circle,
assume?
wondering what the fuck that sound was.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
facing. I'm facing.
That's a natural 20. Good shit.
You see kind of like they don't quite move on feet per se, but moving at like a sprinting speed equivalent. You see hungry yellow eyes pass by at the edge of the light from down the street towards the entrance to Nov Ostoya, and they zip past, like watching you guys as they move past in the darkness. And all you can make out is like the vague silhouette of a humanoid sort of figure that writhes and twists and turns as it just bolts past you and is headed somewhere.
So, like, it's immaterial, like shadowy?
Shadowy is a great way to describe it.
Okay. I would, like, in the middle of, like, Rylon talking, attempt to, like, kind of grab his, like, face a little bit, like his cheeks, kind of, like, lean forwards, then move his head in that direction. You see the shadows over there, sir?
Would I have caught a glimpse of them?
I'd say so. If he's like directing your vision to them, you could probably catch a glimpse of them before they're out of sight, like the last two of them before they round a corner.
Are those the Shadow Stealers?
They are.
Okay. Fuck. Okay, I didn't really want to do this right now, but I'm gonna do it anyways. I'm gonna kind of, since my wings
Before
are
you make
still
any
out-
decision, it looks
Yep.
like they're going away from you. Like you guys have your lanterns around you and stuff like that, I assume, right? I kind of figured that you did.
I do
Yeah.
have my lantern. I have one
Yeah,
personal
so
lantern.
so they're not bothering you.
So are they on the I'm trying to. Are they on the top side or the bottom side of the street we're on right now?
Bottom side.
Okay, and we're more towards the top side, right? We're at that last house.
Yeah, you're at the top side. They're kind of zooming towards the like the street that kind of takes a 90-degree turn away
Okay.
from the market.
And are they is it like a horde of them moving, or is it like just like 2 or 3 of them kind of shifting past?
Like I said, you probably caught the last 2 of them, but Eamon, you're probably quick enough to see that there were 4 of them.
Okay.
I don't like the look of that.
I was going to, if there were more, I would have utilized some of my spells, but it's just not worth it. It's hard to judge. But I could cast a bit of light that would probably blind a bloodsucker or those shadow stealers here, but it's hard to judge when to utilize such a spell.
Well, they were expected, so nothing too worrying. Sir in the house, make sure to keep your lanterns lit bright.
You hear no response, but Stasriel does say, "They move frighteningly fast."
Yes, so best not to be caught in the darkness, no?
No.
I'm assuming that bottom end of the street is what connects. Is it like the connector street to like the main entrance, right? Is it like one long street that makes its way to the entrance, or is it like blocks all the way to the entrance?
If you look at the little kind of map that we drew up here, the top side of the street goes towards the main entrance.
Also, the one we're standing at.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's like can't draw. I don't think here. Can I draw? Okay, so it's like that's the entrance, right? Or is it like blocked in between?
I believe that this street that you guys are on is pretty much a straight shot, almost all the way to the entrance. Maybe like a
so
slight.
we're on
offshoot,
the
but-
main street. Like we're on
Yeah.
fucking. Okay, I got it. Oh fuck, that makes things a little bit more crazy. So would they have ran past us then, or are they on a side street?
The Shadow Stealers ran past you
Jesus.
because you had light, and they can't. You know this from your first encounter with them alongside Ruben, that they can't go in light. They are actively injured by it, and it's pretty much like the main thing that would kill them is light. And so Darkreign is like a free reign sort of thing for them, but they've got to find somebody who doesn't have light.
Okay. What I'm gonna do, at least for right now, is because I shot up in the air, and so looking directly up the street where we're standing, I saw the entrance, right, to Nov Ostoya.
Yeah, you did.
Okay. So I am going to what's the tallest building it's in this area right now? Is it the inn, or is it the
In your direct area,
hall?
it's the gambling hall, I believe.
Okay. I'm gonna point my finger up towards the right above the roof of the gambling hall. So kind of in this kind of middle-ish period between the gutters, where the gutters would be, and the tippy top of the gambling hall.
Uh-huh.
And I'm gonna cast daylight.
Okay.
So right about, I don't know why it says 60 miles, but it's 60-foot radius sphere around where we're standing right now. So obviously this isn't built for scale, but
Yeah.
I'm assuming it would get a good chunk of this block here.
Yeah, I would say probably. And in fact, if you really want to, we can go in Tail Spider, and you can kind of get a better representation of that.
Sure. So yeah, so the daylight spell gives me 60-foot radius sphere of daylight, like sun is out, shining, it's a bright fucking day. And on top of that, it gives me an additional 60 feet on all ends of it of dim light.
Got it. Okay.
So I will boot up.
Yeah, boot up.
So it lasts 1 hour, and it is not concentration. So it's just gonna bool out there. And I look towards the group and I say, they should provide us a bit of cover, at least for the next hour or so.
And have none of the buildings on the other end of the block we visited, right? Down at the other end? For example...
Oh, no, I don't believe so, no.
Sick. Well, seeing that these people are out, I would basically just go down to the buildings and inform them. We don't have to do this in character unless something occurs, but I'm just informing them that there are shadow... what are they called again? Shadow Stealers about currently, and to keep their lanterns bright.
Yeah. Okay. You're talking about the guards, or?
I'm telling anyone in our block that I can during this time.
Oh, okay. Got you.
I'm just informing. I'm keeping the
like
block.
your neighbors.
Neighborhood watch.
Got you.
I'm the neighborhood watch.
Yeah, got you. Yeah, then we can just fast track that kind of interaction, and
Yeah.
they all kind of give that general they're not trusting of you at first, and then you're just like, hey, just be careful, and they're like, yeah, no shit, but it's neighborly, it's nice.
Do any neighbors react now that there's a giant sun in the middle of the street?
Probably. The people, the first house that you went to, the one that borders next to yours, you probably in the light you can see people squinting through the boards, trying to figure out what the hell that is, the boards on their windows, I mean.
Yeah, and I'm just standing in the middle of the street with my fucking wings out at this point. I don't care, because there are bigger fish to fry right now, and if a vampire wants to catch the smoke, they can, but I just want to make sure that we can hold down this neighborhood as best we can. And I look towards the group and I say, is there anything that we need to do? Is there any plans that you guys need? Do you want to visit anywhere? Do you want to do anything? Because now's the chance.
On my end, I think that, your idea is quite fine. It should do well to keep the small things away from us that are affected by the light. If there are bigger bad guys, as it were, who have a brain...
Yes, you drive a good point. This is sort of a beacon now, isn't it?
It's a beacon for the things that don't mind the light, yes, who are allied with the things that do.
Well, not only that, but I imagine that the moment that this is daylight, right?
That's right.
Yeah. I imagine that the moment this is gone, they're going to come and investigate.
This is true.
So not a bad idea. I don't know if I'd want to go anywhere right now. It is Darkreign. I feel like we're fine just staying indoors.
Right.
I mean,
But
put it this way, Eamon, do you think that our neighbors are going to be looking out for us?
And puts his hands on his hip. Whom can do, who should do. If they are just simple peasants and have no knowledge of such things other than to stay in their homes, then they should stay in their homes. But we, who can do more, should.
I don't even know if the gods are doing more.
That's very noble of you to say that like that.
Looks at him and gives him a nod of thanks.
And you hear kind of like a raspy voice enter into the light from the lower side of the street to your guys's. If you look on the little Tailspire map in the bottom left corner, there's a compass. It's not actually accurate to the world's compass, but we're going to be referencing that because it's easier. But to your north down the street, like towards the corner of the gambling hall, entering into the light, steps a vampire. He doesn't seem to be bothered by the light a whole lot.
it's our boy. What's his name
My
again?
friend, it is Yakov.
Yakov, yeah.
Ah, yes, those that are able should, yes, do. And so I will. Are you
Oh.
fellows hunting? He approaches you.
Because defending.
Defending. Boring. Is this your first Darkreign in Nov Ostoya?
That's
For
correct.
me, yes.
You should live a little. There's plenty of time to practice.
And he like pulls the sword from his scabbard. It gleams, and you see that rather than plated with silver, it's plated with gold. There's no real purpose for that other than being ostentatious.
Yeah, what a fucking prick.
But he steps up to you guys like fairly close.
Visible, like actually, like a subconscious step back. You know, I'm trying to remain
Yeah.
still cordial, but I kind of automatically take a step back.
My eyes kind of like shoot between Eamon and Jakob. Is it Jakob or Yakov?
Yakov.
Yakov. Let's say, this is quite the unexpected exchange, Yakov, if I'm able to call you that. Are we on a first name basis now?
And what's your name?
Rylon.
Rylon. Well, now we are.
And I look at his. Can I make like a perception check and check his garb? Is he a Crimson Court guy, or is he just kind of like a underling?
He shows you kind of like one of his fangs and licks at it a little bit, just kind of like sucking his teeth almost. You notice that he's very pale skin, as all vampires are, very dark hair, like almost jet black, and it's fairly short, like maybe an inch or two long, slicked back, like right up down against his scalp, and he's wearing what appears to be a half plate in a similar sort of black steel with the red sort of trim that your full plate has, the very Ostoyan sort of plate. He's not brandishing any symbols of the bloody eyes, nor is he brandishing any symbols of the Crimson Court. In fact, he doesn't have any recognizable symbols on him.
Got it.
I'll ignore your wings this once.
Yeah. What was that?
I said that I will ignore your wings.
That is, I'll say we'll put that as like a 1-for-1, right? We gave you the ability to walk in the daylight, and you ignore the wings, and we let bygones be bygones. But notice that your vampirism, was that by choice, or was that a necessity?
It was neither necessary, nor was it of my choice, but it is something I deal with.
Fair enough. And can we see the spire from here of the Bloody Eyes, or not the Bloody Eyes, the Crimson Court?
You cannot currently where you are because the buildings are just like right up against you and stuff like that. It is like on the other side of the gambling hall from you.
Got it. And what's of the Crimson Court in times like this? Are they of the similar demeanor of yourself? Are they out there practicing, as you say?
Practicing? No, they tend to hide. Few of us challenge the darkness.
Speaking of those who do, you being so much more adept at seeing things at night, how goes the fight on the streets?
I have just begun my hunt. I would not know.
Anything in particular?
I wouldn't be surprised if we came across a few things. A doomsayer, perhaps.
What now?
You really aren't from here, are you?
At
No.
least not this far south, no.
Well, there will be darkwing bats, I'm sure. Gaunt ones. Nightwing bats. Shadow stealers. Perhaps an odd thug here or there. And Luna Kidna. They're the tricky ones.
I look towards Ilfharyn. Those are the ones you need to worry about, friend.
Mm-hmm.
As well as perhaps a black crier, but I expect not to see one today. Likely tomorrow or the day after, but Darkreign is ever surprising.
We do not wish to step away from our here, or a temporary home, and leave our neighbors to be hurt. So, at the moment, it seems our hunt is restricted to this, and he kind of waves his hand around the block.
Unless, of course, you can offer us something better.
Me? Offer you anything? No, our deals have been struck. There is no more trading to be had between us.
Yes, but a life is a life, and while you seem like a very capable warrior with your gold-plated weapon, you never know when things get a bit hairy. Everyone needs a bit of help in these trying times. Perhaps we can offer something more, considering the door is open between you and ourselves.
And Yakov like looks over his shoulder from where he came, and you can see at the edge of the light, like squinting and kind of like holding up a gloved hand in front of her face, is another vampire.
I think that we'll manage.
She can't. Can she even see in here? Right? She probably can't. Right?
It's very difficult because sunlight sensitivity, like difficult to see. But she definitely can't enter, and that's evident by her standing at the edge of the light, kind of like casually looking around at the darkness.
All right. I will reconcentrate and put my wings away. And it would be very painful, sounding like bones snapping, like twigs being stepped on. Very well. Suit yourself. I figured, especially during the longest week of the year, that it's almost as if political or relations or undead or living, we all are the same at this point, right? We're all going to get killed by some monster regardless. So why not extend a hand in a metaphorical white flag during these times, right?
You're right. You will all be killed by a monster or something. But not I.
Right. I'll hold you to that.
He like turns over his shoulder again to look at the other vampire and kind of like gestures for her to go around the next block and then like gestures up ahead as if kind of signaling a meeting point for them. And she turns and like skulks off to the side, kind of behind the inn and probably down to a parallel street.
I must say this is a bit of an inconvenience for my kind, but I understand your wariness in this time.
We would like to show that this block isn't one to take easy prey. It will be
Yes,
hard. We'll
except
make it-
not everything hates the sunlight,
Oh, believe me, we're not worried about the monsters. And I would give him a coy smile.
Right. I should be off now. The monsters will not kill themselves, sadly enough.
enjoy your hunt.
Listen, good luck. Watch your back. You never know who might want that ring. I give him a smile.
He smiles back, gleaming his fangs in the daylight and the kind of like nearby torches and stuff like that. And as he's passing by, he slaps Ilfharyn once on the shoulder, just in passing.
Yes. Be safe.
I do not react much.
I glances at where he slapped him, like,
He continues moving on.
And then I point my finger at Ilfharyn's chest. So you butty-butty with all the vampires around here, or what?
No, I
So
don't
then-
even know that one.
I inside
kinda
check him. I inside check Ilfharyn.
Sure, insight check.
The way that he said that was real weird. No, I don't think that Ilfharyn knows him at all, so there's
Okay.
nothing to inside check there. Something about this daylight spell that I would like to know is all it does is just create light. It doesn't like by default do any radiant damage or anything like that.
No, but I believe that vampires, if they are stricken by daylight, they have certain disadvantages, or they take radiant damage, I think.
If they're high enough level, they do take direct radiant damage, and then they are like afflicted negatively in sunlight. I was asking for a different reason, but
Besides that, it does not do any inherent damage, unless, of course, there are creatures that have sunlight sensitivity, or in this case, the Shadow Stealers, who are unable to pass through the sunlight.
yeah, yep. Sounds good. Sounds good to me. Okay, cool. Glad we're on the same page. Now what? What do you guys do? You do hear the sounds of I don't want to say shrieking, but screaming kind of coming throughout the city. The city is of course much larger than the Tailspire map that you guys see. This is just kind of like a small chunk of it. I'd say maybe like 10% of the city or 5% of the city.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's much larger. You guys are in relativity very, very close to the entrance compared to like the farthest reaches of the city or the center of the city. But you guys hear like screams kind of popcorning in the distance, like one here for a second, one off in the distance over there for a second, that kind of stuff. And you hear the roars that accompany them if it is a creature that roars or screams or shrieks.
How is Zabriel reacting to any of this?
Sezreal is kind
Or
of pretty
Sezreal,
calm.
sorry. Yep.
He's just standing around like in the sunlight or the daylight, just kind of like glancing past towards the dim light that surrounds this beacon that you guys have created. Well, I think that if we're going to stay inside, then it would be a first step to get inside, don't you think?
I agree.
I would
Sezreal?
also think that there's not much sense in having one of the mercenaries.
He gestures behind himself over towards Troy, who is probably out of earshot now.
It doesn't seem right to treat him as Ilfharyn would say, a canary, because then he would just attract attention outside. Wouldn't it be best for us all to hide?
Well, I would like to keep eyes.
Again, I agree with Stasriel.
Well, then I shall stand outside the door myself.
You want to stand?
I feel as if Ilfharyn and I are growing very close as friends.
Why would you want to stand outside, Eamon?
Well, he turns,
Yes.
looks at the house. There seems to be many places that one might attack our home, outside of the front door. And if one of those attacks were coming, I would like to know about it before it happens. I have a tendency to make sure that those around me do not get ambushed, so we should have some forewarning of an attack as long as someone who remains close enough to me to be affected and is keeping their eyes out on the outside of the home and there's the rest of the block.
Regardless of what's happening, I don't think that we should be out here discussing this. We can discuss this inside.
Very well. We shall discuss this inside, but Eamon has got a point.
Does he, though? Think of it.
If we... He does. Why else
It's
would we
a
have
death
hired?
sentence to whomever is outside.
So then why did we hire mercenaries?
Just to die. Does that seem...
Disagree with you entire. There are plenty of things out here that, if they are powerful enough to down our friend in a moment prior to any sort of my effects going into him, or assisting him rather, and any of us returning the favor and getting outside, then they could just as easily break down the roof of our building or one of the walls, or pry off any of the wooden barricades that we have on the windows.
Yes, but we could at least stab them through the wooden barricades. Look at Ilfaryn's sword. It's as thin as a needle.
Mm-hmm.
He could stab right through the boards, the gaps in them.
Not only that, but I would rather the house itself be attacked rather than someone outside of the house, right? Because otherwise we're weaker overall. We're splitting ourselves up needlessly.
And if damage occurs to the house, then it could be repaired.
Yes.
Last I checked, Rylon used his only means of resurrecting on me.
Yeah. This isn't even our house.
It's not the point.
Well, okay.
It's not our house, that is right. But it is what we have now, unless you want to pay more money for the inn down the street, which I can imagine only costs triple at this point.
Stezril steps around to the side of Rylon to shove him towards the house, before trying to drag Eamon along as well. If you guys don't allow him to do this, then he's probably weaker than you guys, honestly, so he probably wouldn't be successful in any sort of... he's just trying to gesture you guys towards the house. Like,
I start walking towards the house.
I'll let him push me. I'll let him get this one up for this time. Listen, I understand why you guys want to reserve resources, I say with a rolling of the eyes. But, Stazriel, I understand that you are not the fighting type. But, in the fight against the darkness, you understand that those wings mean something on your back, do they not?
It is not that I am not the fighting type, Rylon. I have this spear for a reason. I am a spellcaster. I am as capable as you are.
Really? I have not seen you do a single thing since I've met you, actually.
I try not to pick fights.
Well, unfortunately, fights are going to pick you. So I'm hoping that you're prepared in case those things happen instead of being all talk. All wise, all knowledgeable Mr. Stazriel, who seems to wit his way out of every conversation. Why not show us what you're capable of? Tell me what you can do.
When the time comes, Rylon, you will see.
You're damning us all. I want to know what you can do. I want to be prepared so we can work off each other, Stazriel. Stop being so coy.
Right, you two. Inside the home. I will stand guard, as I said. Someone may change shifts with me later tonight. I plan on running in the home if something goes wrong, and then guarding the door until the arcane lock returns in place.
Yeah. If Stazriel I walk in the house, right? Does Stazriel come inside too?
Yeah, he's inside.
Okay, once we're in, I check him. I straight up check him. I shove him a bit.
I say goodbye, goodbye, little angel, and close the door.
And I
like the little kid?
No, I say that to Stazriel.
Oh, okay.
This means such a bitch.
Ooh, I don't know why I ended up over here, but it doesn't matter. So I check him as soon as the door closes, and I say, "What is your problem?"
I don't have a problem, Rylon.
Stazriel,
What?
this is a lot bigger now than it needs to be. I would understand if things were a bit different, but we're dealing with a child now. Of our kind, for God's sakes. At least be a bit more optimistic and a bit more courageous in times like this.
I will
Speaking
be
in
courageous
riddles.
when it is necessary, Rylon. The difference between you and I is you enjoy using your spells, and I do not.
But wouldn't it be beneficial if you were to share with the class? So we can work together instead of working on the fly, is what I'm saying.
Rylon, yes, of course it will be beneficial if we all know what I'm capable of. But we can suffice to say that I am capable of conjuration and necromancy, and I am not proud of it.
Why? Is necromancy inherently a bad thing? I use necromancy to bring you back.
Yes, and you berate the Lich for using necromancy.
I berate the Lich because he uses necromancy for slavery. There's a difference.
Willing slaves.
It's hard for willing slaves to exist when they're dead.
I would prefer not to discuss this further.
Fair enough.
But know that if it comes to it, I will have your back. And I will not let something happen to you.
I'd rather you have the child's back, Stazriel.
Who's to say that I could not have both?
For your sake, I hope so.
Look, we'll all have everybody's backs, but I think that what's trying to be said here is that there's not much point in us being out there looking for a fight. If it comes to us, then so be it. We'll deal with it. We'll go outside if we need to.
Stazriel looks between the two of you. Where is the child? Where did you leave him?
I'm assuming he's probably in his room. Oh, his room, right? We didn't catch his name, did we? Little boy.
He probably would have told you by now what his name is, which I should have generated because I didn't think of one. We'll go with Clement. I like
Fuck
Clement.
off. Fuck off. Fuck off. I give him the little Ostoyan hat then. He's wearing it now.
Kudo, when you listen back to this, thank you.
Alright. When I hear the name Clement, I am overjoyed and a bit reminiscent. And at some point in the time skip, if he told me his name, I would have give him the classic Ostoyan hat and said that a very courageous and wise friend of mine once adorned this hat, and it would protect him essentially.
Got it.
So I don't know. This little boy's walking around with a fucking top hat.
yeah. For the listeners that don't know, a long time ago, Kuda's character Halifax coined the phrase "classic Ostoyan hat" when he was talking about his top hat. He coined a lot of classic Ostoyan things that we'll probably encounter more than once. But he basically made it so that it's canon that Ostoyans wear these like top hats that like a black and dark brown and gray and stuff like that to accent their attire. So yeah, now we have this little seraph child walking around with a top hat on.
Clement.
I'm going to go tell him a story to calm him, I think.
Story or propaganda?
He rolls his eyes at you and makes his way for the stairs. A story, he says.
Right. Don't go poaching now.
You can hear his chuckling ascend up the stairs with him. Coming outside to Undead.
Hello.
Make for me, make for me a perception while you're holding the front door and patrolling it.
Got it, Hoss.
As you are.
17, sir.
Okay, I'm gonna say that you notice this before it notices you, if it's something that you would like to retreat from. But while you are out there, you see down the road a bright flash of angry red light, and then all of a sudden that flash vanishes, and in the torchlight from the buildings, you can see a smoky, semi-humanoid figure that is standing there in the torchlight. Or, not quite standing there, more like floating there in the torchlight. It appears hissing and shrieking in a cacophony of rage and confusion. And to you, to the untrained ear, it almost sounds holy in some ways. You can't make out many other details of it from this range.
Got it. I am going to attempt to... Are these boxes cannon?
Anything that you see around you is cannon.
Sick. I'm going to attempt to stealth in this position here. It's down which side of the street? The south or north?
Oh my god, Jimmy. Sorry. Which boxes? Where?
Well, first I'm trying to see, is this creature on the south end of the street or the north end of the street?
It's on the north end of the street, I'm gonna say.
Okay. Okay. Shoot, that's pretty close to here.
It is.
Yeah. I am going to attempt to stealth behind these boxes real quick. The ones right next to the house.
Oh, okay, those ones.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm gonna move it slightly so I got a little spot to hide in behind it. Like I'm gonna move it towards a little bit. And I'm gonna peek around this corner, and I'm gonna watch and ready. I'm ready to rush into the house and say the command word if need be. But I'm gonna spectate and see where this thing's going. So I'd like to roll a stealth check while I'm here.
Yeah, roll that.
That's a 20, sir.
A 20, got it. Okay, cool. Well, this figure does begin to make its way towards the house down the street, but you don't notice that until it comes around the corner. Really quickly, while this is happening, recapping what's going on inside. So Stazriel just went upstairs to tell the story to this young boy, Clement. And you have the two mercenaries inside that are standing to each side of the door. And Rylon, you notice as this creature is approaching outside, which you are unaware of the creature's presence. And probably Ilfharyn downstairs as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
You two notice that there's a glow coming from Isaac. It's like it's only like a symbol that is glowing, but it appears to be glowing through his armor, like probably on his chest, like right pectoral.
Would I be able to Arcana check that?
I would say so. He looks down at it and he looks a bit worried.
That is a 14 plus 6 is 20.
There's something outside.
And you know that how?
Arcana check. You said a 20. I'd say you probably heard of witch hunters before.
Mm-hmm.
You understand kind of like how their brand works.
There's something outside. Out there. Something dangerous.
Oh, I get it. Okay.
You get what?
Don't worry about it.
Something evil.
Maybe get Eamon in?
He, while you guys are having this discussion, that's when this thing kind of comes around the corner. And Eamon, you see it there in front of you. It has ashen gray flesh pulled taut over a floating torso, and smoke kind of billows out where its midsection turns into like this cloud of smoke. And the face of it bears a twisted and writhing expression of pain and anguish. And atop each eye is a brand. You may not recognize the brands unless you make a religion check.
I'm good. No, thank you.
Okay. And kind of like a silvery sort of light glows from its eyes, which are just like glowing orbs. Basically, they don't have like pupils or anything like that, so you can't really tell exactly where it's looking. But it has like this silver light glowing from its tormented eyes, and 4 blackened horns jut out in chaotic directions, twisting and swirling without any clear pattern. Ripples of fiery red course through the creature's veins, up and down its chest, neck, and arms until reaching its clawed hands. And you see a small chain dangling out of its mouth, like a jewelry chain.
Oh, he's got the drip.
Yeah. Okay, and it seems to be passing right now.
It's floating past you down the street.
Yeah. So as it's like, once it like gets past me slightly, I'm gonna like very quietly like mutter while I'm stealthing here, and I'm going to cast my Mage Hand cantrip, which gives me an invisible Mage Hand that
Okay.
anywhere within 30 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna like appear it inside of the house right next to me.
So, in the rules of rules document, we clarified that anything that you're summoning has to be within sight of you, so you can only summon it somewhere you can see.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm going to summon it, just my Mage Hand right at this window here.
Okay.
I can have it float into the window, right? Because I mean, I know the layout of this house.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, can it move places? Because I can. It says that you can move anywhere within 30 feet. Can I move it around somewhere where I can't directly see, but I know the layout? Or...
I'm gonna say because you know the layout of this house, I'll allow it. But in the future, like you can't use it, for example, to like case a building and then like send it through the door and unlock the door from the other side or anything. Like
yeah, it has to be something that like I have seen before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm just gonna basically grab one of these candles and start floating down the stairs to where I think everyone might be, and you guys would just see a candle floating down the stairs and begin like waving back and forth, like very deliberately, like kind of like you'd wave a white flag.
You hear it as it's gaining further and further distance from you, Eamon, down the street, just like hissing and like wheezing.
I would make my way towards the door, but I wouldn't open it. I would just kind of like place my ear against it, right? Just kind of like real close and just listen.
And you hear the faint sound as it moves further and further away of just like this tormented sort of hissing and wheezing and like babbling. In oddly enough, you would recognize it right away. Celestial.
Ooh, what is it saying then?
It's just babbling nonsense about some sort of curse and like in riddle sort of form, something about a blackish material and dark creation.
Put 2 and 2 together. Is he talking about the ether by chance?
That's up to you to determine. I can allow you to roll an insight on that to kind of like see what you can gauge from what it's babbling, actually.
Sure. Insight check. 9.
And 9, I can't give you any hints.
He seems genuine.
He seems genuine.
I kind of like whisper against the door. Eamon. Eamon.
How far down the street is this fucking thing?
Huh?
How far down the street is it now?
Probably far enough that it won't hear Rylon whispering.
Fucker through the crack in the door, he'd drop his mage's hand, which would subsequently drop a candle onto the floor.
Oh shit!
It's just a thump on the ground
The
as
whole house combusts into flames.
I scramble for the candle.
kind of sneak.
Psst, psst, oi.
Psst. There is something very bad out here.
Right. I understand. I heard it.
See the candle?
Yeah, we saw the candle. What are you doing?
Hiding.
Out of quick curiosity, sorry, what languages do you guys speak?
I speak Abyssal, Celestial, Ostoy, and Imperial Norm.
Abyssal, Celestial, Ostoy, Imperial. Okay.
Imperial Norm, Ostoyan, and Chernalt.
Okay.
Wait, don't you speak Elvish?
Oh, and Elvish, yes. Apologies.
Yeah, mine is Imperial Norm, Elvish, and Shonal.
Okay. So, Rylon, through the door, what's your passive perception?
13.
13. I'd say you probably pick up on this too. Now that it's further down the street, you hear, and you're talking to Eamon during this, all of a sudden you hear just screaming, like anguish, tormented screaming, like dual tone, one voice kind of higher pitched, one voice kind of lower pitched. Something in abyssal. And it's just muddied coming through the door. You recognize a couple of words in there somewhere. Something about forsaken and torture.
God. Oof. This is rough. Whatever it is, there's something about torture down the street. Whatever creature made its way down the road, it found some prey.
Rylon,
What?
can you just open the door and let him in?
I open the door. He's got the password.
He doesn't need the password because I said that he could open the door when I cast the spell.
The light dies away from Isaac's chest. It's no longer glowing through his armor.
Peeking down the street before I go in, does it seem to be on this street that it's found its victim, or has it gone to another block?
You see it continuing to walk down the street, or float down the street, I should say. It hasn't found anything that it's attacking.
So what am I listening to? I as the door opens, I walk outside
What are you doing?
and I peek around. Can I make like a perception check?
It also didn't seem to mind the daylight at all, just to be clear.
Yep.
Fair.
I will assist
Yeah,
you.
you can make a perception.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and try to assist him as I'm also looking around.
All right. So I get advantage, right? 21.
Okay, as you look down the street, you see the figure, like just these red veins, like fiery red, just running up and down its arms, its chest, up its neck, and in the torchlight you can see kind of like from side angles from the torchlight, it's like horns that are just jutting in different directions, and it's like writhing its arms around, like bringing them up and contorting them in different directions, and just nonsensical kind of movement as it's like switching between whispering and hissing in celestial and screaming in abyssal.
Do I have any idea what the fuck that is?
You could roll a religion.
All right. So, as a reminder,
Yes.
my background, making
Yes.
religion checks to remember celestial, fey, fiend, or undead. If I'll double check that just to be sure. But I add my proficiency. So yeah. So Cabal's lore keeper. Whenever you make an intelligence check, parentheses religion, to recall information about celestials, fiends, fey, or undead, you add proficiency die to this. Does this apply?
This does apply.
Okay. So I will roll a religion plus a 1d6.
Yes, you will.
I'll say plus, I add this to my modifier, 1d6. 11.
11. You
Unlucky.
do not recall what it is. You're like racking your brain as you're looking at it. You're squinting and like your eyes are just kind of like moving around just a little bit as you're deep in thought, and you have no clue what this thing is.
Okay, but I've gathered that the whole torture bullshit is coming from that creature.
Yeah, you can see it just like spazzing, like just screaming and writhing and contorting its body. The upper torso and arms that are left of it, and just completely nonsensical. This creature.
I see it kind of continue onward down the street, and I just get back inside. And if Amon comes back in or not, but I'm prepared.
How long has it been?
Has it been since what?
I originally stood guard. Was that like immediately after I started standing guard?
Yeah, it was like immediately after you stood guard, maybe like 5 minutes after.
I closed the door.
Okay.
I'm gonna make sure I keep an eye out to see if this thing's coming back down the fucking street.
Okay. It doesn't seem to walk back immediately or anything like that. I'll let you know if you see anything, so we can continue kind of doing any sort of role play, and I'll just interject.
Exactly, that's fine.
All right. Just let me know when the hour passes, because that's when the daylight fades.
Okay. Yeah. If you guys don't do anything for the next hour, then it would pass.
Okay. So Amon, if you're out there, you would notice that it goes from being a sunshiny day to the darkest night.
Yeah, he would definitely kind of. Did you tell us how long that was gonna last?
No.
Oh, fucking yeah, then it would kind of surprise the shit out of him, and he quickly like rushed to light his lantern, which he would have turned off because it was obviously super bright where he was at. He's gonna rush to. If I do so without trouble, I will continue standing guard as it is still quite early in the day.
Yeah, I don't think that there's any trouble with the lantern.
I haven't been murdered. Great. Yeah. Is there any lights up and down the street? Are these lights currently canon, or have the guards kind of started to give up continuing to light the streets at all?
The lights that you see are in fact canon. They typically don't cover the entirety of like the street, which means like shadow stealers can still like move up the sides of buildings and around them and stuff like that. There are a couple choke points where the lights like are on both sides of the streets, and so like it does cover the full street, but not very many of those points. And you hear what sounds like the immediate shouts of some sort of conflict reach your ears from the west towards the cathedral. It sounds like the shouting of men fighting something, perhaps the guards, perhaps just vampires, who knows.
Yeah, at one point I would kind of walk back inside with my lantern attached.
Okay.
There we go, I can open the door. Say, fucking Metal Gear Solid, exclamation point. He'd walk back inside and look at Rylon and say, there seems to be something going on at the chapel, but I have thought of a better way of communicating while I'm outside.
How's that?
He pulls out a quill that he has and his paper, and he places it on the floor since there's no tables in here. He says, just keep an eye on that, and if it starts writing by itself, please be aware of what it says and act accordingly.
Writing by itself? What are you saying?
Squints his eyes at you. Did you not see the candle?
Oh, okay.
He'd mutter a word or two in a magical incantation, and then like your hair would start flapping around as if someone was like taking pieces of your hair and floating them up and down. You know. You ever seen that Harry Potter scene where like invisible he grabs his butt?
Yeah.
That with your hair.
We've all seen Harry Potter.
All right, as long as we're on the same page.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. I'll keep my eyes peeled, but I'm not going to lie. I kind of whisper to you and kind of try to away from Ilfharyn. I'm not doing well, knowing that these creatures are free bodying down the street and ravaging houses.
We do what we can. I, like you, think that we need to do what we should for these people, but for the sake of the child that you are protecting upstairs, who is certainly a target for many of the things outside, and for the sake of the people we have hired, I think we need to contain what we would like to do and realize what we must do.
Very well. But remember, you are paying, and I would kind of like point over your shoulder, these men to do what you're doing. So if you're feeling tired, don't be afraid to come back inside.
Yes, of course. I do think that I will make sure that we are safe for the remaining time. I hope that we can run into something perhaps we can swiftly kill, but until then, until I am tired, I will remain on watch, and then we will change out.
Very well. Be safe, be careful, and don't get killed.
Of course, my friend. I am just a doorway away. Close to the two guards. You two. I'm risking my life, just like you are. So I expect that when you are on guard duty outside, you will remain most vigilant.
And they kind of like look to you and look between each other and shrug. And Isaac says, because he's the one closest standing to the door,
Right. Well, the thing is, this is what we do. So it goes without saying that we will do our job, because we're not only being paid, but it is what we do.
Right. Well, while I do appreciate it, as someone who has worked with mercenaries in the past, I
Not
feel-
like us.
He kind of purses his lips at that and gives them a nod of general respect and deference. So be it. Then I will left what I was going to say unsaid. Please get some rest now, as you two will be splitting a watch later.
And where would you where would you say that we rest? Eh?
Do you not have a sack, a bedroll, like myself? If you do not, you may use mine. But while I understand the floor is uncomfortable, it's certainly it's certainly better than sleeping outside in the cold. If you need to use my bedroll, you may, sir. There is also 2 beds. You may rotate shifts between them. You are no less important than any of us right now. We are all equals under this roof until Darkreign is over.
But, right, there's 2 beds. One of them belongs to the kid. Where are we gonna sleep then? Just roll out our bedrolls on the floor down here, or upstairs is fine.
I would prefer that you stay within eyesight of our friends, just because I don't want anything that is perhaps sneaky getting at you while you are asleep.
Right.
But yes, it seems as though, for now, the floor will have to do. Perhaps if we see an easy opportunity sometimes this week and we can get you more comfortable accommodations, then we will do so. But it is not a priority as of now.
Right then.
Gives them both a firm nod and opens the fucking door to step back outside and get back on guard duty.
Okay, sorry, I realized that I said that you guys sold all your furniture and broke that down, so I'm going about doing that really quick.
No.
The thing is, a lot of it is like built into the walls, so there's gonna be a lot of it that does not disappear. But
I was just ignoring it like it didn't exist.
My immersion.
My immersion.
now see, now you have more immersion because there's less stuff.
Where's my
Like,
piece
get
of
to break
paper
it
and my
down.
quill?
But yeah, so you oh shit.
Where's Joey?
So you go back outside, and then you guys are inside, the rest of you. One of the guards does take that kind of to heart and makes his way upstairs. Troy specifically, whom had already been.
I gotta
guarding a
remember
little bit
that
elsewhere.
lazy Troy, always looking out for himself. Keep an eye on
He was
him.
just told to.
I know, but it's one of those things that you say in like as like a sign of respect, but like as a person, you know not to take that offer. Like, you know what I mean, as being a good person. So
Yeah, I
you know
gotcha,
when
I
someone
gotcha.
takes it, they're kind of scummy. I don't know.
Sure. Okay, and so then Eamon goes back out there with the lantern, and nice. This is good. I'm a fan of this.
In fact, while
Um,
I'm standing outside, I'm gonna just be in my true form. I'm not even gonna try hiding it.
You're one with your people right now.
Oh yeah, I'm literally gonna sit here with my hood down at this point, with my arms crossed, leaning against the wall, keeping my eyes open, doing a patrol every now and then. But I'm definitely gonna be looking in my true form, all several yellow eyes and all.
You know
Oh,
what?
that's
You know
That's
what I'm
kinda
thinking of? I'm thinking of. You ever seen Shaun of the Dead?
Oh yeah.
When they're pretending
he's
to be
like,
zombies.
yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
That's
Look,
a,
guys,
that's
I'm a
Eamon.
monster too. Don't need to
And
come
that's-
here.
You know, before you even mentioned that, I was already thinking something along those lines because what was gonna happen
Oh god.
was these gaunt ones that you see walking down the street, like in a little cluster of 3. They were looking for some food, but they seemed to glance at Eamon and realize that he's a freak just like them, and and they actually just kind of move right past. They were totally gonna jump you, Eamon.
Yeah,
But,
several of the eyes would follow different ones at the same time. The big one kind of just glancing around, looking in
wow, what a
different
weird
directions.
coincidence that you said that at that time.
Whew, he'd wipe his forehead. Oh man,
I had them sitting in GM layer, just ready.
that's right, Amon. Keep the smart thoughts up. Don't fuck this up. Don't get one shot again for the third time.
Yeah, your guys' last encounter with gaunt ones was rough.
I've
Big
gotten
rough.
like almost killed in one round twice now, so I'm confident.
Yeah, so then that's one encounter avoided, and you they just kind of saunter right past you. Well, like they kind of, one of them was walking on 2, and one of them was like walking on all 4s behind it, and the other one was like kind of like just sniffing at walls and doors, and as it walked by, but they didn't seem to be like actively attacking anything, because they didn't see anything yet.
Yes. In fact, as they kind of like walk by, I'm going to begin now. Now that I think about it, I'm thinking it's a good idea. Activate my chitinous armor, my chitinous shell, which I rarely remember to use, and I'm going to keep this activated constantly. Since I can continue to use my bonus action, I'm just not going to drop it as long as that changes. So it just basically all my skin kind of hardens and gets like scaly. And provides me some AC bonuses, and I look like a fucking even more of a freak.
Got you. Okay.
Yep, and I'm gonna continue my patrol. I also write down the quill on the inside would pick up briefly at one point in this time, and it would be like 3 gross beasties. That's it. I don't know what they're called. I don't think character.
Can we get a dexterity check to see how good this handwriting is? Is it eligible?
Yeah, aren't you using your fucking beastly hands?
I'm using a invisible mage hand, actually, sir. This is magic, bitch.
Take my good hand.
Yeah, it's magic, bitch.
Fair enough.
It's
you
very.
see Eamon down the street as you're patrolling in front of the building. The silhouettes of the 2 vampires from before.
Yeah.
Like a ways down the street.
Does it seem like they're walking in this direction again?
It seems like they just came out of an alleyway specifically, and they make their way into the alleyway, and something dives out of the from the alleyway that they just came from towards them, and Yakov like turns and does like a slash and catches the creature that's diving through the air, like through the air, in the air, and slices it once, and it like topples to the ground with a roll. Before another one comes running out, and the other vampire figure stabs it like right through the head as it's like running at her with what looks like a long sword or a non-knightly sword, but still like a lengthy sword.
Got it. I'm in no rush to assist any vampires, so I'll just keep observing them unless they start coming closer to our house.
Yeah, fuck
Yeah.
back off.
They kill those 2, and then they kind of go about like cutting something off of them, the creatures, and then like kind of jog back into the next alleyway across the street from where they'd come out of.
Good for them. Make that money. You make your money. I'll survive.
Fucking scalping out there, like.
Yeah.
And as they pass out of there, right? It's probably another 15 minutes before you see anything in particular. So is there anything else that you do or anyone else inside does?
Ilfharyn goes upstairs. He looks out of the window. He stands on a bed.
Out of the window, got it. Okay.
Standing on a bed? Come on, that's where we sleep.
He's standing on it.
That's the kid's bed too. The kid and Stasriel are just in there. Here, let me actually
You're
take
standing on the kid's head on the bed.
Let me get the kid out of. That's funny. I can get Stasriel out here too. So he's like the kid is like just kind of cradling himself in the corner, and Stazril's just kind of kneeled down next to him, and they seem to be playing tic-tac-toe now.
Nice. What are they playing it with?
Just like a piece of parchment and like a stick of chalk.
Okay.
Something that they can wipe off the parchment and redo. And so you see that while you're looking through that window, there are just like boards. Did you guys nail them down vertically or horizontally? That's important.
Horizontally.
Okay.
So if it needed to be, one of them could be removed, say the middle piece, and it could be visible from the outside. You could see outside without like removing the total cover.
No, Ilfharyn is just squinting between the gaps.
Okay.
He can see basically nothing.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool because
Oh no.
coming back down the street in the same way they did, it must have gotten to the entrance by now and then just kind of started doubling back and is headed towards the center of the city now. That same sort of smoky, hovering figure starts to walk your way, Eamon.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to start scribbling on the pad and say it's going to say smoky bad thing. And I'm going to stand at the door with my arms behind my back. So I'm going to be like facing, like standing at the door, arms behind my back, hand resting on the doorknob, and just going to watch to see if this thing comes at me, because it must have passed other things like me. The question is, does it kill everything, or...
Smoky bad thing.
Let's find out. Smoky bad thing. I write that down so it's very clear what's coming.
All right. I see it. Once I see the scribbling, the almost like the Tom Riddle scribbling in the book, I kind of have my hand on the knob of the door, and I'm just waiting to hear something crazy go on outside.
If you guys would actually like an image of this thing, I can get you an image, by the way.
Whoa. I haven't seen the creature.
Okay.
Yeah. Smoky bad thing.
Just saying.
Smoky bad thing for right now.
Okay. Sorry, Eamon, did you say you're hiding somewhere or anything?
Oh no, I am standing in front of the door. I look like a fucking freak with my many eyes, and I'm going to I'm leaning back against the door with like my hands behind my back and my hand on the knob on like my end of the door as well, and I'm like prepared to quickly like jump back into the door and slam it closed if need be, but I'm going to stance up and see what this thing appears to be doing and if it's going to come at me.
Upon getting this close to it now that it's come around like from the wagon that's there in the side of the street, and into your point of view, and only like this thing is like 40 feet away from you, and there's, as we've been describing, torches and lanterns on the sides of buildings kind of illuminating parts of the street. You see not only its dark silhouette now, but the fact that it is covered in blood.
Got it. So it's being through the ringer. Perfect.
It doesn't look very hurt.
Listen,
Huh?
he's in the wrong hood right now, Eamon.
Yeah, he's in the wrong place, motherfucker. This is my hood. I'm the guy guarding the fucking bar. I'm sitting there and like all my eyes would simultaneously open and just kind of peer at this thing. They'd all lock onto it, and I would just be sitting there leaning against the door, not moving.
You see it stop, and I should actually set its size just a tiny.
Oh my
There we go.
lord!
He's a
That's
beefy
about
boy.
it.
He's a
That's
beefy
about
boy.
Sorry, I had the wrong sizing before.
Oh, my bad. He was once a small creature, but now he's gargantuan.
You see it stop and look at you, Eamon. and sorry, where's Rylon again?
I'm literally, my hand is on the doorknob, like waiting.
Both of our hands on the door. Like he's on the other side, I'm on this side, and we're prepared.
You see it stop and it looks to you, and it begins to kind of float closer to you, dragging, like its arms are just so long that while it's floating there, its nails are just like dragging against the stone ground, the road.
Yeah. Okay. Can I roll an insight check as this thing's walking towards me?
You need insight for that? He's
Yeah.
in your face.
Fuck him.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, because like he's got big arms, right? So if he was gonna attack me, right, I'd have to see this shit. He'd have to raise that shit. So I'm gonna, yeah, let's see. I'm just gonna not
big
respond.
meaty
Right.
claws.
What we call this is bluffing, guys.
Right.
16, sir.
Right.
This is called the bluff.
Right.
It's tough to gauge currently if it is hostile or not, and you just hear it like.
Okay.
Just like-
I would hear it, right? What is it saying, by the way?
It's just making incoherent noises currently.
Kind of like the same kind of random BS it was saying before.
Yeah.
Okay. I would preemptively open the door.
As you open the door, I would automatically fall backwards because I was leaning back against it into the room.
Okay. And you also notice. Sorry, I should have said this before. The symbol on the front of Isaac's chest is just glowing bright right now, like through the armor.
And we got our personal Reuben in the cut. We like that. As soon as the door opens, I'm going to immediately cast Spirit Guardians, 3rd level.
Okay, and how far does that go to?
15 feet from centered on me, and I can designate any creatures that I don't want to be affected, and that's obviously everyone who I trust in this building. So that's the mercenaries, my boys, and the little man's upstairs.
This is awesome, actually. What kind of damage does it do?
Radiant damage or necrotic, but I'm going to choose radiant for right now.
Baited.
Are you able to change the type of damage?
No, but that's the one I'm choosing for the current casting of the spell.
No,
Okay.
if you're good or neutral, it's radiant. If you're evil, it's necrotic.
There it is. But I'm a neutral, that's the thing, so
Okay. So it's radiant then?
yes.
Okay. And what is the range on that again?
15 feet centered on me.
All right. So just out of reach of it.
That's
I'll leave
fine.
that's for there. It stops, and it looks at you, and it looks at these like little spirit guardians hovering around, and its
I'm
head,
standing
like
in the doorway looking at him.
a shiver goes like up its body, and it like just twitches a couple times, and its head just snaps to the side, sort of, and its mouth slowly opens up, and you see tears streaming down its silvery eyes, down its cheeks, that turn into steam and burn away, and it's staring at you. It has 2 symbols carved above on its forehead, above each eye, by the way.
Can I take a gander what I'm looking at here?
You absolutely can.
As you're
Okay.
examining, I
Would you like me to make a perception check or a religion check?
Maybe religion.
Okay. Same
You
background.
get the bonus. Yep.
Okay. So 1d6.
I kind of lean
20.
forward. Is this one of your friends?
20.
I would be ignoring your comment, just trying to
Yeah.
squint my eyes and look.
You see, looking at it, that this is sick. One of the brands above its eye, one of its eyes, is an upside down symbol of Imperius, and the other is a right side up symbol of Malakir.
Oof. The duality of man. There it is. Can I make a judging now that I'm seeing this creature face to face, can I make an insight check and see what was I'm assuming there was one before the other. Can I make an insight check and see what was the first carving on this creature? You know, based off the crying.
So you're trying to gauge which carving was there first,
Yes.
or which brand, I should say. They look like they're seared into its flesh.
Yeah, so it's crying, right? I'm noticing the crying, so I'm assuming there's a connection, right? Because obviously it speaks celestial, but it also speaks abyssal. So there's like this duality going on right now, but I feel like it's resonating more with the celestial side. So I just want to make sure if there's anything I can do personally that can kind of dissolve the situation, or am I kind of happy?
Are your wings out?
No. I mean, unless there's something that's going to anger me. Actually, hold on. That's bullshit. I'm lying to you. Let me see one thing. I might be lying to you right now.
The Spirit Guardian's concentration?
Yeah. So I think they're out.
Yeah, they are.
Okay.
They are out. If it's concentration.
Yep, they're out.
Okay, that's sick. Then Yeah, you can make an insight to try and determine which brand was there first, I would say.
21.
A 21. They were put there at the same time.
That doesn't resonate well.
This creature continues to move towards you. It steps into the Spirit Guardians.
All right, he has to make a Dex save or a Wisdom saving throw. Sorry, DC 15.
20.
He passes. I believe he takes half of the damage. Yep. Affected creature's speed is. Yeah, it takes half. So it takes 4 damage, 4 radiant damage, and nothing else takes effect towards it. And I'm just gonna take another. I'm gonna step out of the house.
Okay. We're in a fluid turn order right now.
Okay. In that case, this thing's like stancing up to him, I assume.
I wouldn't say it looks like it's stancing up,
Alright,
but
it has arms.
I don't want to.
right?
I don't want to do anything that you like. I want to give everyone a chance to act fairly.
Alright, so I'll go ahead and say I ready in action that if it seems to have a hostile attack coming, like it raises its arms to, in a manner that I would deem as about to hit him, or if I recognize that it's casting like an incantation, I'm going to ready a attack against it, and I tend to try to knock it back out of this area, so that we'll have to re-enter.
Yeah, I'm also going to ready.
Am I allowed to? How do I do this?
Go ahead.
No, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm just trying to. You said it's 3 squares, right?
It's 3 squares. So you drag it out to what it is, and then left click once, and
Yep.
it should stay.
There we go. Okay, that's the Spirit Guardians. So for reference for everybody.
Thank you.
Okay. I can just about see through these little gaps in the wood.
I
Right.
think, yeah,
Through the
you
window.
could probably barely peek through them. I would say at the angle that this creature is compared to the window, I'd say you probably can't see it through the gaps.
That is okay.
Clear board.
How far can I see? As in, like, what is the first point that I can see?
Probably like the base of the building across the street.
Damn, okay. The base of the building across the street. Alright, that's way too far for me. Okay. I'm gonna start moving then, but I'll move slowly so you have some time to do stuff.
Okay.
I'll be going downstairs.
Okay. And then, Eamon, you said you're readying a spell?
I was ready to attack this thing, but kind of seeing how Rylon is putting himself here, I'm going to actually cast a spell. As I lean forwards and like slowly reach my arm out to Rylon. And Rylon, you feel a small press in your back as I cast Protection from Evil and Good upon you.
And what does that do exactly? That like blocks X amount of damage, right?
Nope, it grants several benefits. Creatures such that are aberrations, celestials, elementals, fey fiends, and undead have disadvantage on attack rolls against Rylon, and Rylon cannot be charmed, frightened, or possessed by them.
Damn,
Okay.
good boy. Shouts out.
And by the way, I do not need to provide material components for this spell, so I won't be using my holy water.
You son of a bitch.
He'd finger gun at you. Monks, baby.
Monks, baby.
Weird monks.
Yeah, Lydden Crown monks. Whatever that means. What is a Lydden Crown?
Leaden crown.
What is that?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Oh my god.
It's like it's like when someone says a crown's heavy. You know, like the crown weighs heavily upon my head. It's like a responsibility. You know.
Damn.
Lead is heavy.
So, anyways, yeah, it seems to be walking closer to you, and it's still crying, and it's like being bashed with these little floating spiritual guardians. Its open mouth starts to turn to a smile, like a heartfelt smile, and it slowly like lowers down in front of you, its head being a mere 3 feet, 4 feet from yours, looking you deep in the eyes.
I'm just standing there, not reaching or anything. Just holy the dual holy symbols are out across my armor right now.
Mhm.
Just looking right up at him.
It's muttering to itself something quiet.
What is it?
You don't understand it.
I don't understand it.
Unless you speak Infernal.
I don't speak Infernal.
God, I'm so stoked for the Monster Grimoire. This is so fucking sick. It slowly reaches out its hands as if it's going to caress you. It's like lengthy, gray, taut skin, muscular, clawed hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as it's not attacking me, then I'm gonna let it happen. But of course, if it does attack me, it has disadvantage.
Yeah, I'm not gonna let this thing fucking touch him. I don't know about you, Ilfharyn.
I don't know if I'm downstairs yet. I'm assuming I am.
I'd say you're downstairs by now.
Okay.
Do what you gotta do, undead.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna ready, just in case. So if this thing costs a spell, actually no, it's a reaction. It's fine. I'll do it if it costs a spell. I'm looking at this thing going for a touch, and obviously some spells at touch, so it's a little concerning.
My hands are at my sides. I'm not readied. I was readied until it became kind of more genuine, and I kind of relaxed. So I'm just kind of waiting to see what it does. I'm not preparing anything.
Eamon, thinking that this guy's fucking crazy, is going to now lash out with some attacks. So I plan on attacking this thing, like, straight out, to knock it back out of this protection field that's going on. I don't really know how it works, but I assume he'd have to fucking fight whatever things are going on again if he had to walk back into it.
I mean, you have like a sort of feel of how it works, because I used it against those little baseball devil creatures that we fought with the dragon.
Did it seem to affect them when they came into it, or did it?
Yeah.
Okay,
as soon as they come in.
100%. So I'm lashing out a bunch of attacks at this guy with my force damage, which makes my reach 10 feet. So I'm attacking around my boy here and trying to use my force. And if I hit him at all, I plan on trying to knock him back out of this fucking field, if possible. Kosher?
So what are you doing? Sorry, you're attacking from 10 feet away.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to use my force damage here, so I can attack at range, and I'm gonna hit the fuck out of this thing a few times.
Okay.
So like
you got range?
Yeah, I can use my fist
Light and crown.
telenetically. Yeah.
Whew, shouts out.
So you kind of see me quickly like raise my fist, stance up in like a boxer stance, and I'd let out a few punches that would you kind of like feel your clothes move as they kind of hit around you, and I'm going to attack.
I should say, sorry, I mentioned this when Eamon first saw it, but the thing is like dripping blood.
Oh yeah,
Like,
yeah. And this thing's about to kiss my friend. And I'm not having any of that.
He's a Brad boy, we know.
Yeah.
Okay, so make those rolls.
Yeah, you got it. 15 to hit.
15
good,
does
brother.
hit.
Oh, it does. Very nice.
Ooh.
So, yeah. With that first hit, it's going to be a nice, simple 5 force damage. And
Okay.
I'm going to declare now I'm using Flurry of Blows with this attack. So I'm going to spend the key point for that. I'm also going to do a couple more things with this attack. I'm going to attempt to knock it 10 feet away. I could choose to push or pull the creature 10 feet. It needs to make a strength saving throw, my friend.
Okay. Is this considered a magical
Yeah, this is magic.
effect?
Well, I mean,
No, yeah.
not really.
No,
Like my fists.
your fists are magical.
Yeah, my damage counts as magical, right? But this isn't a magical effect. This is me pushing him.
Got it.
Like, this is
14.
my fist being so strong. Yeah, he fails with a 14. So he is pushed 10 feet with this attack, and then I will not attack him again. This is pushing him out of the circle.
So I'm gonna flavor this a little bit, okay?
Shoot.
You see this creature of smoke and twisted horns and glowing silver eyes, like crying and smiling as it's getting closer and closer to Rylon, and it goes to reach to kind of caress Rylon, right? And then it turns its hands and they start to reach towards Rylon's wings, and you see kind of Eamon in its eyes, like you get the feeling of malice, like it's going to do something bad, and you just like you let out these couple punches and you knock it back 10 feet, and you see its hands as it's knocked back are just like clenched tight, like it was going to grab tightly onto Rylon's wings, and it looks at you, and then Rylon, what do you do?
I look back towards Eamon. What are you doing, Eamon?
Some water or something?
Oh, I just realized I was talking to myself. Fucking push to talk. God damn it. I was literally talking to myself that entire time and responding to you. Yeah, okay. He's standing there. Yeah.
Eamon?
He's standing there all stanced up, ready to throw a few more punches. Rylon, it's time to kill the bad thing. That thing is going to steal your wings. Fucking kill it now.
I sigh, and I pull out the finger guns, and I point out towards him, and I begin letting off guiding bolts.
What kind of damage is Guiding Bolt? And are there any rolls?
Yeah, it's you don't have to make any rolls, but it's attack.
It's attack roll, for you,
and
right?
it's all radiant damage.
Okay.
So
make those attack rolls.
So I'm gonna twin the spell at we'll do it at 2nd level. So I'm gonna spend 2 sorcery points to do so, and send 2 guiding bolts at 2nd level at this creature. 20
hits.
All right. It takes 17 radiant damage, and because it now has advantage on it, the second attack is now going to be an advantage. 20.
Okay. 20 also hits.
12 radiant damage.
29 radiant damage. Okay.
32
You
radiant
see these
damage.
2 bolts like... Oh yeah, sorry. You see these 2 bolts streak out. Like one goes like... It hops up diagonally, and then the other one goes around lower diagonally. They both like impact in a kind of like a scissor pincer kind of move. Right into the creature's chest, and some of the ash on its skin kind of burns away, and the tears are still streaming down its face, turning into steam, and it mutters something in Celestial that is just incoherent. Like, you can't make sense of the words, but you recognize the syllables, and then it says something in Abyssal, and it says, "My wings," and rushes towards you in response. And that there is where we are going to end this session, because I was just having some weird computer problems and I don't really...
Fuck.
I know. I'm sorry. So yeah, that's the end of this session.
Thank you for the session, Prowler. Rylon, don't forget that this motherfucker has to make another save.
Yeah,
all right? Fuck
I'll
this
write it
guy.
down, mate.
Yeah, so that's the end of this session. It was a little bit shorter. Some stuff came up. We had to postpone the start of it just a tad, which is regrettable, but I had to do it. And we spent a little bit of time talking about some stuff that needed to be sorted out before the session started. Things happen, as you guys, the listeners, know, and as my players know. That being said, we appreciate you guys listening, sticking around. Things are heating up in Darkreign, and they're only going to get worse or better, depending on how you look at it. But join our social medias. Join our Discord. Hang out with us. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Instagram. Subscribe to us on YouTube if you want to. And like I said before, only support us on Patreon if you really can afford it and feel that your money will be, worth it to give to us. Our giveaway that we're doing, which you can find the details on our Discord, is actually being paid for with the generous support of our Patreon supporters that have been supporting us since day one. Shout out to them. We'd love them. And yeah, we'll catch you guys next time. And as always, never split the party. See ya.